Oh, thank you.
Wow. It started off, guys, with Sonia liking Dennis's new haircut. What a way to start our program today.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Well, look, welcome to another edition of Fuel. Just in case you haven't figured it out yet, Fuel simply stands for finance, unity, empowerment, and legacy. I'm honored today to have my friends, but also financial professionals, starting with Mr. Dennis Sawyer, and then followed by Dr. Jackie Moore. Always remember, guys, we have the doctor in the house. And this, oh, wow. I just had to put it out there. The financial queen, the fuel your dreams woman, our very own Sonia Williams. Hey, guys, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's a great Friday.
All right. Hey, look, guys, before we actually get into the nitty gritty, I need to make our audience aware that last week, Dennis made a very generous offer for three of our viewers that he had a book that he wanted to give away. Wow, look at that. What is the name of that book, Dennis?
Saving Your Future.
Saving Your Future. And what happened was we gave out a general email address and found out that there were some issues with the address. So we had to go in and recreate it. So, guys, if you're looking at the little streamer below, you can see now that you can actually reach out to us at Fueling Future Generations 2020 at gmail.com. Again, that is Fueling Future Generations 2020 at gmail.com. The first three people that ask or request for that book, Dennis is going to come out of his own pocket to make sure that you have it. So, first of all, thanks, Dennis, for doing that and being really generous.
And since things got messed up last week, let's make it 4.
Well, there you have it. So now we've opened it up for 4. So again, guys, just remember, go to Fueling Future Generations 2020 at gmail.com. And so, guys, before, again, just kind of leading up into what we're going to talk about today, I just want to really just go around the table and ask, how has your financial week been? You know, anything exciting going on? Anything that warrants some special attention? Just go for it.
Well, I've been, I'll use the word blessed with lots of information from Miss Sonia, Dr. Jackie, about passive income and income that you have to work for. And what our subject is going to end up being today is protection, basically. So this has been a real eye-opener for me. I love passive income, but I also love to help people. And this is what Fuel is all about for me.
Okay, remember, guys, we're live, so just chime in.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. I'll chime in. So my week has been blessed, like Dennis said, a lot of valuable information pouring into us as we continue to help many families with their finances, fueling their future, right? And so, there was a revelation for me in regards to protection. Like Dennis said, we also know protection as life insurance, right? Protecting your number one asset, which is you. And so my revelation is I really thought my financial affairs were in order. And then I was affected, or I tested positive for COVID-19, and I got very sick. And the reality is I realized that there was one major piece missing from having a strong financial foundation, and that was final expense. A lot of people don't know enough information about final expense when it comes to protection. So my revelation was my financial house was not in order without final expense planning. So I'm excited. I'll share more about that as we go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Dr. Jackie?
Thank you. So my niece and her husband recently moved to my area, and I'm looking at the opportunity to share the importance of protection with them. Sometimes when they're far away and they blank out, you're not able to grab them in. But they're that age that you really want them to understand that just because they're young doesn't mean they don't need to set up the protection. Just because you're single doesn't mean, but that everybody should have protection and understand why there's a need for the young, the single, the old, the etc. So it just opened up another opportunity, and I'm waiting to sit down with them. So I'm excited.
You
Nice.
know, I'm sorry, Mac. I was just thinking about what the two ladies said earlier. And, most people don't know that you can combine protection with income, because you got to protect your income. You got to protect your family. You got to protect, your future, your children's future. So it's everything that we teach people, because like Miss Sonia said, that COVID thing is an amazing thing. I too got it. But before COVID, I had an even worse situation, which was the onset of diabetes. So if you are caramel colored, and man, I shouldn't even say it that way, because anybody can get diabetes. And once you get to a certain point, my numbers went up a little bit. I'm dealing with a health practitioner now to bring them back down. But immediately, and this is scary, immediately I became uninsurable. And I look healthy, I talk healthy, I walk healthy, I visit my doctors when I'm supposed to. But it doesn't matter. Your body will do what it wants to do when it wants to do it. So I'm sorry, Mac. I was listening to the ladies and I was like, when you're protecting yourself, you're thinking about that final moment, the final expense. Are you thinking about your grandchildren? Are you? Because if something happens to me, I was a single parent. I had to be able to think for my daughter. How can I make sure she gets to college? How can I make sure she can keep this house that I bought? And then now it extends to how do I help my daughter get my granddaughter in college? So it's a thing that I like to say, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And, and a good woman, all right? Because there are a lot of single women, single parent women led households out there. My mother was a single parent. and, she had to think about those things.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up about the uninsured, because everybody thinks, well, I can wait. I can do this tomorrow. Yeah. Let's talk about it another day. And the reality that we have learned as being financial professionals is that in the next hour or the next day, something may change in your life that makes you uninsurable. And COVID is one of the big fears. So that the companies have put limits on what they will allow you to access based on your exposure or actually having contracted COVID. And we don't know when or if that might happen to any one of us or anyone that we may talk to. So there is a heightened sense of urgency, because as we talk about it, we do want to protect ourselves and our families, but we are limited by some of the realities of our health. And so one of the sayings we often say is that your health can be the greatest buster of your wealth. It can break it down to nothing. You can have a huge pot saved because you're a wonderful saver and have a health event, and you will end up in debt because it's the reality. Don't like talking about it, but it is the reality and we need to address it. Thank you.
Wow. So you guys are really setting me up. So just to kind of piggyback on what you said, Dennis, what you also said, Dr. Jackie, in 2017, I hit the trifecta, but it wasn't a positive trifecta. The trifecta was I got hit with a stomach ulcer.
Ooh.
I got hit with Bell's palsy, something I still deal with to this day. And the big one was having to have triple bypass surgery, all in 2007. In fact, literally 7 months after I got married, I'm finding myself on the operating table. So the good thing is that I had insurance already, but I had already been thinking about increasing my protection. But going to Dennis's point, after all that, I too became uninsurable and have had to use investments and other mechanisms in order to be able to make up that protection part of it. And then just talking to something great that's happened this week from the financial point of view. I know that all of us are dealing in the arena of cryptocurrency. And to this week, oh my goodness, the growth that I personally experienced has been out of this world. So I'm really excited about that. Looking forward to when we can talk about crypto, as an actual subject matter. But for today, I just wanted to let you guys know that, that has been a great platform for me. And I know it's been for you guys as well.
Yeah, you always have to have a cash flow and income. The good thing is, what we do about that protection realm is we not only show people how to protect themselves, but we actually educate them. Like our main topic was insurance, all right? But how well do you understand insurance? I've been doing this for 10 years, and I think combined, we got over 30 years of experience in this realm, and like Max said, there are other ways to make money, but think about protection, your debt management, having an emergency fund, and then investments, all in one vehicle, or most of it in one vehicle. You never want to put all your chickens in one chicken, whatever it's called. I'm not a country guy, but as you understand that insurance is more than, I'll name a couple of them: term and whole life. The average American have only heard term and whole life. And the truth is, what we do is we do a holistic approach where we find what people really need, because there's more than just term and whole life. There's a variable life and there's index life, index universal life, excuse me. So right there, that there's just more options, because my life is different than Miss Sonia's life. My life is different than Dr. Jackie's life. My life is different than Max's life. And we need to have vehicles and products that suit that life. My mother is 87 years old, and there are just certain products I cannot get for her. So whatever she did not do, puts a burden on me financially because I take care of all her finances. So what Mac was talking about earlier has allowed me to have another stream of income to be able to insure my mother, but through what I do, you know.
Excellent, excellent. Why don't we do this, guys? Since we're talking about protection, aka life insurance, what else can we share with our audience as far, I guess, maybe from a foundation perspective, and again, stressing the necessity to make that part of your financial arsenal.
Well, number one,
oh, go on. I'm sorry.
Number one, everything that has value to us, we want to protect, right? Everything, whether it's our life, whether it's our home, whether it's our car, whether it's our pet, we want to put that protection on those things of value, in particular monetary value. Because if we don't provide the protection, then we pass on, like Dennis said, the financial burden to our loved ones when it's time for us to leave this earth. So number one, protection on you. Protect your health, right? So protect your health, protect your wealth. And in life insurance, when you protect your health, you're also protecting your wealth a lot of times. And so, thinking of the perspective of, fueling the next generation, right? That's what we're doing. We're setting up a legacy. We're creating that multi-generational income or multi-generational wealth because of having that life insurance in place on our number one asset. I like to say we want to be a financial blessing to the loved ones that we leave behind, rather than a financial burden.
Yeah, and one of the things that we teach in our classes is something called the dime method, because you gotta have a base of how do you know what do you really need. When I first bought my first insurance, the guy didn't tell me anything, but the most important thing to me at the time: how much does it cost? But he didn't tell me any of the benefits, and he didn't tell me what I had. Well, actually, he told me what I had, but it didn't matter because I didn't know what it meant anyway. I had a term policy, and it was a 5-year term. And at the end of 5 years, oh my God, it almost quadrupled. No, it did quadruple. It went from $27 to $412. And you know what I did, ladies and gentlemen? I canceled it. But luckily for me, further down the line, I was able to sit down with someone, like Dr. Jackie or Masanya or Mac, and they showed me this thing called the dime method. And what all it does is help you calculate what you really need and why. It gives you the why. Your family, your house, your car, but let's put everything in numbers. So it's like, what debt do you have? Somebody is going to have to pay that debt, and it is not fair to put it on your wife or to put it on your children, or your significant other. And then your income. Can you realize if you're making $70,000, $80,000 today and you kick the bucket, what's going to happen tomorrow? Those bills are still going to need to be paid. And your family is still going to need that $70,000 for a time period to get them in order, in shape. And what about rent or mortgage? These things are monthly, reoccurring bills that you as a couple, you as a single person have built up that you're half responsible for. I don't know how you do your money in your household, but, we got to look out for each other. We don't want to leave each other indigent, And then there's that crazy thing that no one thinks about and everyone talks about: education. Education has a cost. I have friends, I'm in my 60s, my 16s. I'm sorry. I'm in my 16s. And I have friends who have over $400,000 in education debt
Yes.
that may or may not get excused or whatever they call the word. So, wow, you got all this stuff over your head. You die, yeah, your problems are gone. But now you got your funeral. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be direct, right? You got your funeral. You got the, excuse me, funeral director, but you got the funeral directors. They trying to make money. They will sell you a Cadillac when all you needed was a Peugeot or Yugo.
Oh my gosh.
We got to find ways to preserve wealth. I told my daughter, I'm going to take care of my death. Everything else you take and put in your bank account. Do not spend more than the amount that I set aside for that final expense. And then education, for those of you who haven't paid your education off already, that expense passes on following that last name. And we have to take care of that. I was lucky, I was blessed, I was able to help my daughter pay off her educational expenses because of what we are talking to you about on this line: protection, debt management, emergency fund, and investment. So the DIME method is one of the things we use, and Mac talked about one last week, and I'm sure we're going to have a whole class on that, and that was compound interest. So next, I'll keep talking because this stuff is dear to me. Mac has been my friend for a long time, and Dr. Jackie and Miss Sonia, we have been friends for a long time, and we have seen friends come and go. And there's nothing worse than knowing that you have information that could change the future of someone's family.
Yeah.
And you don't give it to them, or you don't at least offer it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And just to add to what Dennis said is, so he talked about the DIME method, right? Debt, D stands for debt, I stands for income, M stands for mortgage, and E stands for education. And then what we also look at when it comes to life insurance is it affordable? Is it suitable to your needs? What are your needs? What are your goals? So we tie that into, understanding, do I need life insurance, or how much is enough life insurance? And so once we realize exactly our dreams and goals, whether it is to, buy a car or pay off a house or leave a legacy to our family, then we can find the right kind of life insurance. And like Dennis said, there are different types of life insurance. But is it suitable to fit your needs, to fit your goals, to fit your dreams? And the younger generation need to have this information as early as possible, because there is a piece in life insurance that can help you save, that can help you build wealth, and that can help you plan and prepare for your financial future.
Nice.
Wow, that was powerful, Miss Sonia. Wow.
Thank you.
So we talk a lot about the debt. We talked a lot about that last week, and it's part of this house that we're building: protection, debt management. And I'm going to stop right there at the debt. But you can say, well, will I die? Who will know what debt I have? So it doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about it. Let them worry about it. But let me tell you a reality for those of you all who haven't gone through it. When you go to probate, one of the things they make you do is put in announcements to find out if anyone has a loan out or a debt out in that individual's name. Had to do it for my mother, had to do it for my father. And then they require a certain length of time. It may vary by state as to how long. Mine was 6 months post-death to give individuals time to see it. And so you can say, well, I'm going to hide it under the basket. I'm going to do this little local, they require one really big circulatory publication. Okay. And then you can choose the other. So they are getting the word out. There are other ways through the bank systems that they will find out. So it is still incumbent upon us as responsible individuals to be concerned about those who are left once we pass, to pick up with our unmanageable spending, you know, our frivolous spending, deciding that our want was more important than a need, which then has a greater impact on our finances. So during this time, we will talk about a lot of concepts, but they all come together as to how it relates to your finances and your well-being. And so don't look at them as separate entities. Okay, yesterday they talked about it, next day no, all these things build on each other. And in building our financial house, we're starting with protection. But everything comes on top of each other. So you will hear us go up and down, but understand today may be protection, but it's reliant on your understanding of its importance in your financial life and your financial future. So I just wanted to point that out, because sometimes we make a point of, well, that doesn't apply to me because I don't have any debt, or that doesn't apply to me because my husband will take care of it. But what we need to think about is, do we want to leave that for somebody to take care of? We will go around and buy a car, and then we're not supposed to, some do, but we're not supposed to drive it without what? Insurance. We will buy a house, and they won't let us go forward without what? Insurance, because the bank wants to protect themselves. But then they say, you need to have your insurance for this house that you own. Flood insurance if you're in, oh, you don't have it, and you had a flood, and you're in the flood zone. Insurance is a way to protect those phones that we feel are so precious. How many of us go around and say, yes, 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 I want insurance for it? Yet we stop short of insuring us. No, I don't want to pay for insurance for me. No, I don't want to do that. So that's kind of shortchanging the way you look at it. And as Miss Sonia mentioned, we do need to, our most important asset is really not our house, nor our car, nor that phone. It is ourselves. So through this discussion, please continue to remember that regardless of your station in life, we need to look at ways to protect it for those who love us. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, so we're getting close to having to wrap things up for this particular session, but if I can just venture out and just ask, we basically, or foundationally, we have three different types of insurance that I think people are aware of. One being whole life insurance, one being term insurance, the other being universal life insurance. And I know that within those three, you have a plethora of others. But can we, as we get ready to wrap things up, can we just talk about some of the basic differences between those three, and how maybe we go about the decision-making process of choosing which one is best for us?
Sure. I'll just do a quickie so that somebody else can talk also. But basically, term insurance, basically, like I said, like Max said, there's a whole lot of types, but the basic term insurance is like renting a car versus buying a car. Whole life is good. It goes for your whole life, but it doesn't offer flexibility. And universal life usually offers flexibility that can be a hedge against inflation, can help you with your taxes, can allow you to put more money in or put less money in depending on your financial situation. So that's the three basics.
And I just want to touch back on the final expense. As I shared, I had a revelation this week, right? So a lot of people think that number one, insurance is, they just have a premonition that, or a pre-notion that insurance is expensive. Oh, it costs too much. But again, that's just simply lack of knowledge. People don't know enough about insurance. So they have these, these stereotype things that they heard about insurance, right? But actually, it's the number one thing we can do to help our families. And final expense is affordable. And it usually comes in that piece that's called whole life insurance. So that you have a cash value in that final expense that's going to cover, your needs as you when it's time for pass away. Let's just keep it real, right? Keep it transparent. When it's your time to go, that final expense is often whole life insurance, and it will help cover and fund those things that are required in final expense planning. The funeral arrangements, the funeral homes, the cemetery. So it's not costly if you know. The key is to have the knowledge and plan and prepare. Prepare now. Don't wait today. Do it now so that when it's time, your family can grieve without having to figure out where are we going to come up with the funds. And enough people don't know about final expense and how valuable it is to helping our families not have the burden that gets left behind. Thank you.
Excellent. Anything else to add, Dr. Jackie?
Well, I was thinking about the three or four types that have been talked about. And the last one, the universal life, what the financial industry has done is expanded what these protection vehicles do for us. And so in the universal life, we now have kind of a savings pot there that we can use for the living. So many times people in our communities will think of these protection devices. You just go and talk about death. That's all you want to talk about. And it's hard for some individuals to get beyond that there are other uses or the impact of the death that will have on their families. With the universal package vehicle, you actually have a living benefit by the fact that you have some flexibility in the premium, gives you the ability to adjust maybe where you are during a couple of months of your life and may need to have some flexibility in payment. Okay, so that's helping you in your living. There is some internal growth that you can take advantage of. And so that may be helpful in your living. So there are multiple uses that have been built into the universal life package. So it goes for life, but it has a universal application to your living and has this benefit in your dying for your family. So it gives you combined items. So it's a good thing to consider and understand that it's there, because so many times we're only going with what we know, and that's term and whole life or final expense.
Excellent. Well, you can tell that we're definitely live as somebody's phone is going off there. But guys, this has been really, really great. I feel already like we've been able to share some basic principles, concepts as it relates to protection. In fact, I really like referring to it as protection. And I think that for so long there's been such a stigma of even talking about protection because people think it's morbid to talk about the fact that we need to actually plan for a time when we're not around. And we really need to overcome that mentality to really make sure that, as you all have stated so eloquently, that our families are protected well after we have, left this earth. So again, to Dennis, to Dr. Jackie, to Sonia, thank you so much for hanging out today and doing this. I just leave the floor open if there are any other final comments that you all want to share.
Sure. I'll leave one quick one. I talked about paying my daughter's school off, or Dr. Jackie mentioned something about cars. Well, actually, I've had my policies long enough and they've generated enough money where that's where the money came from to pay the school off. And that's how I buy my cars now. I don't take loans out from the car dealership. I borrow money from me. And when I was sick, I used that same pot of money to keep my mortgage paid and things like that. So insurance is not just for dying, it's also for living. I just wanted to throw that in there.
All right.
And so what I would like to close with is to give you an idea of what the measure that is used when looking at insurance. It's two major things. Your age, which increases every year, and therefore the premium increases every year based on your age, and your health, which can be affected every minute to make a difference, and your availability for this type of protection. Your age and your health will continue regardless. So the thing that you have control of is the urgency of doing something now, finding out more and moving forward.
Excellent.
Yes. I want to add, life insurance is the best thing you can do to your family. Nothing else is more important than having life insurance. And your age, like Dr. Jackie said, we can cover our babies as early as 7 days, 2 weeks, age 0. But we don't want to wait too late. And we definitely don't want to start late. We want to start today, like Jackie said, Dr. Jackie said. Start early and lock in your health and your wealth. Life insurance.
I like that. That's a good way to end. That's a good way to end.
Yes.
That's a good way to end.
Thank
Well,
you.
hey guys, again, this has been great. And for our Fuel family, just remember that what you are doing right now will literally affect your future. So let's get on board. Let's do what we need to do so that generations that will follow will be able to be secure and be well protected. Guys, great job, and we'll see you all the next time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.